It wasn't a comedian. It wasn't a late-night host. This time, the blow came from the Terminator himself. As an immigrant to this country, I would like to say a few words to my fellow Americans. President Trump sought to overturn the results of an election and of a fair election. President Trump is a failed leader. He will go down in history as the worst president ever. The good thing is that he soon will be as irrelevant as an old tweet. I'm very aware of Crystal N, or the Night of Broken Glass. It was a night of rampage against the Jews carried out in 1938 at the Nazi *** equivalent of the Proud Boys, while Donald Trump was busy fighting courtrooms and chasing headlines. Arnold Schwarzenegger quietly stepped forward and dropped a bombshell on live television. He called Trump the worst president in modern history, then compared the Proud Boys to Nazi stormtroopers. But what really set Trump off wasn't just the insult. It was what Arnold said as an immigrant with Melania in the spotlight. Did Trump just get publicly cornered on the one thing he never lets anyone touch, his image at home? This video contains real clips and verified statements. It's not fiction, ***, it's how the story unfolded. I have a great idea. Why don't we switch jobs? You take over TV because you're such an expert in ratings, and I take over your job, and then people can finally sleep comfortably again. And they hired a big movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, to take my place, and we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. So, being from Europe, I've seen firsthand how things can spin out of control. I know there is a fear in this country and all over the world that something like this could happen right *** here. Honestly, if you think Arnold's got a point, give this video a like. And if you want more moments like this, don't forget to subscribe. Trump brags about ratings. Arnold talks about unity. One's worried about a television show. The other's worried about democracy. When Trump mocked Arnold for killing The Apprentice, it sounded funny. But coming from someone who grew up watching power go wrong in Europe, it hit different. While Trump fuels division, Arnold calls for something simpler. For Democrats and Republicans to stop turning citizens into enemies. So maybe this wasn't a celebrity spat. Maybe it was a *** leadership audition and only one of them showed up prepared? No, look, when you belong to that club, you've been a governor, you know how difficult the issues are, how complicated everything is. I think the most important thing is that, people work together, doesn't matter who it is, I always stress that the Democrats and Republicans work well together, because what's going on now is just politicians always try to divide us, and that's not healthy. Arnold's not trying to take Trump's job. He's reminding him what the job is. While Trump keeps picking fights, ***, Arnold's pointing to something simpler if you've really led before. Division isn't strength, it's just noise. Arnold tried to cool the flames, but the fire was just getting started. Because right when Trump thought he'd shut it down, another voice stepped in. And this one didn't just speak up, he brought the receipts. You're in a feud with Donald Trump right now. Do you know this? No, I don't. Because this is very exciting for me, because he a feud with Donald Trump right now. I want to ask you about Donald Trump. You are in a feud with Donald Trump. I want to ask you about Donald Trump. I want to ask *** you about Donald Trump. You are in a feud with Donald Trump right now. Do you know this? No, I don't. But this is very exciting for me because he doesn't like me either. And so anytime there's somebody new he doesn't like, I feel a fraternity, a brotherhood with this. Okay, so we're having beef. You're having beef because I guess you said in an interview that you were a better golfer than him, and then you told a story. Is this true that he signed you up for one of your golf clubs and didn't tell you? Yeah, so you had to pay. No, I didn't pay. I got a bill. Just as Arnold was calling for unity, another *** voice entered with less diplomacy and a whole lot more personality. Samuel L. Jackson didn't plan a feud with Trump, but as he put it, finding out Trump doesn't like you. That's practically a brotherhood these days. What began as a light golf story turned into a not-so-light bill. Trump signed him up for a membership without telling him. Samuel didn't pay, but he didn't forget either. Somebody did send me something today that said, Trump said he didn't know me. He said he know you. I actually have his tweet right here, tweet. This is very exciting, so there you go. It says, I don't know, Samuel. Jackson the best of asterisk my knowledge. Haven't played golf with him and think he does too many TV commercials. Boring. Not a fan. Not a bad thing. Now, it's very interesting when Donald Trump says someone is out on TV. Too much because, he's very with exposure. He thinks it's very careful to just barely be on TV. Barely get yourself out there. But is that true? You say you now? You claim right here you have met him? Yeah, I met him a lot. You played golf with him? I played golf with him. I actually played golf with him with Anthony. Then came the twist. Trump tweeted that he doesn't know Samuel L. Jackson. Never played golf with him. Not a fan. Too many commercials. Standard Trump denial. But Samuel had a different memory. He didn't just meet Trump, he played golf with him more than once with witnesses. The bill showed up too. And if Trump forgot? Samuel didn't. So, was this selective memory or just another round of revisionist golf? Trump says he doesn't remember. Well, the bill remembers. What about you, Team Samuel or Team I Forgot? Let us know below. What did you think of that Meffer Donald Trump tweeting that you're a boring actor who does too many TV commercials? Oh my God, did he tweet that? Yeah, he did. What was your reaction to that? I look at my bank account. I laugh. Trump called him boring. Samuel checked his bank account, then laughed. No shouting, no follow-up tweet, just one moment that said everything. While Trump scrambled to defend his image, Samuel didn't need to say a word. That's the thing about selective memory. It doesn't hold up when the receipts come with punchlines. Samuel walked away with a laugh. Trump, not so much. So, what does a man do when he loses the last wordum and still needs attention? He posted something on 9/11s and, no, it didn't go asterisk well. Don't blink. The morning of September 11th, 2001, when Donald Trump went on TV and claimed he had the new tallest building in downtown Manhattan. It's also the 7th anniversary of the day he tweeted this. I would like to extend my best wishes to all even. The haters and losers on this special day, September 11th, you gotta hand it to him. He always knows the wrong. While the country mourned, Trump found a different angle. He went on television and pointed out that his building was now the tallest in Lower Manhattan. Years later, on the anniversary of that day, he tweeted, best. Wishes to all, asterisk even the haters and losers. Samuel didn't have to add much, he just paused. Because sometimes the only punchline you need is the quote itself. But as always, we want to be clear. Very thing you're seeing here is based on real, verifiable statements and public footage. And speaking of consequences, Trump's next move didn't just stir emotions, it rattled international trade. Now, if you thought that tweet was bad, just wait, because next, Trump picks a fight not with a celebrity, but with Canada's oil supply. Stay tuned. Tariffs on over $90 billion worth of U.S. goods. We are in intents of negotiations with the asterisk Americans and in parallel preparing reprisals if those negotiations do not succeed. After the tweets and feuds, Trump pivoted to something bigger, tariffs. In March and April 2025, he imposed 25 to 50% taxes on Canadian steel, aluminum, and auto imports, citing national security. Financial Post, April 2025, Canada hit back hard. According to Canada Report, $30 billion in U.S. goods were targeted, including oil, tools, food, and consumer products. The Canadian Steel Producers Association warned of mass disruption across North American supply chains. Meanwhile, KNKX News reported that U.S. manufacturers were already struggling to compete with prices soaring and layoffs looming. But while workers braced for impact, Trump smiled at a steel plant and said, "Nobody is going to steal your industry." Sometimes the loudest words echo in the quietest factories. So, with trade wars raging and factories on edge, you'd think that was the end of the storm. But no, because while Trump was busy shaking global markets, someone much closer to home was quietly facing a storm of her own, and this one hits a little too close to the border. gay, lesbian, and transgender children, some 921 to 1004 who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they whose interests are furthered by a polarized America. And that help, I believe that unity in this country is possible. Stick around because what comes next says even more than the silence, and if you haven't yet, hit subscribe. You'll want to see how this unfolds. Earlier, Arnold, speaking as an immigrant, urged both parties to work together and protect the vulnerable. He spoke of fear, division, and the need for leadership rooted in compassion. Days later, at a memorial service, a different kind of moment unfolded. As the bishop's sermon touched on immigrant families and LGBTQ children, the camera caught Melania sitting still. No reactions. No comments, just quiet focus. In contrast, Trump shifted in his seat, scoffed at parts of the speech, and reportedly criticized the service afterward. No conclusions are drawn here, but in a moment meant for reflection and unity, the difference. Imposture was noticeable. One led with silence, the other with dismissal, and in a debate that started with policy, the spotlight quietly shifted to family. It was a meeting with members of Congress, and some of them spoke about what the president said. This wasn't exactly anonymous sources. Thank you. Melania Trump, an immigrant herself, also caught up in the middle of another immigration flashpoint. And this time, it's a family affair. Her husband's opposition to so-called chain migration. A guy comes in and then you have to bring his aunt, his uncle, his father, his grandfather, his grand. As immigration debates heated up in Congress, Trump pushed back hard against what he called chain migration, the idea that one immigrant brings an extended family. But the moment turned personal when reporters noted Melania, an immigrant herself, could have benefited from that very process. And just like that, the national conversation circled back to the family at the center of it all. If Melania's silence said a lot, what came next said even more. Cameras kept rolling, and what they caught Jimmy Kimmel couldn't resist pointing out, searching little finger, a swat, or a hand pat. It's not as simple as you might think. And we've seen how things have been going between him and Melania lately. So when Trump reached out, I know that he had to be disappointed wouldn't hold his hand either. It's poor guy. He just wants to be loved. He just wants to be touched. That's all. If Melania's silence during the sermon raised eyebrows, what followed only deepened the attention. She avoided eye contact. She didn't speak, especially not to Trump. That's when Jimmy Kimmel brought back a familiar clip. Trump reaching for her hand and Melania pulling away. Even the Lord didn't want to hold his hand, Jimmy joked. The crowd laughed. But behind the humor was something more telling. The bishop spoke of empathy and connection. But on camera, Trump stood isolated, surrounded by cameras, ceremony, and distance. Sometimes silence doesn't hide tension. It reveals it. All over the world have been calling and calling me distraught and worried about us as a nation. One woman was in tears about America. Wonderful tears of idolism about what America should be. Those tears should remind us of what America means to the world. Now, I've told everyone who has called that as heartbreaking as all of this is, America will come back from this dark days. Amid the chaos, the noise, and the global spectacle of political feuds, sometimes what hits hardest is a phone call from across the world. A single tear, a quiet voice asking if America is still who we said we were. Arnold didn't point fingers. He didn't blame. But when he spoke of a woman crying for what America once stood for, the message landed with more weight than any headline. While some leaders rage online or fumble through photo ops, it's those tears that cut through the noisier reminder that the world is still watching and still hoping. And maybe, just maybe, that hope is still worth something. From Arnold's plea for unity to Samuel's sharp memory to Melania's quiet distance, each moment painted a piece of the bigger picture. This wasn't just about politics. It was about character, silence, and what it says when even those closest begin to pull away. In times like these, maybe it's not the loudest voice that defines leadership, but the quiet ones who stop clapping. This video covers a publicly reported exchange involving Arnold Schwarzenegger, Samuel L. Jackson, and Donald Trump, as well as commentary related to Melania Trump that has appeared in verified media sources. All references are based on documented public statements, satire, or broadcast content that has already entered the public domain. We do not endorse or promote personal attacks, and no private information is speculated or fabricated. This content is shared for the purposes of commentary, media analysis, and public interest in full compliance with YouTube's community guidelines and fair use policy. If you found this informative or thought-provoking, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching.